All right. Connection successful. Okay. That's good news. Okay, and we're hardwired again. If we can bring the chat back now. Okay, I think we're good now. Maybe it was a router issue. Trying to get everything back up to where it was. So hang tight, folks. If you're still in here with me. Yeah, I don't see any connection dropping right now. So far so good. Knock on wood. Looks like Facebook reconnected. YouTube looks okay. Alright, if you're on YouTube, go ahead and let me know if you guys can see and hear everything okay now. I'm not seeing any issues on my end anymore. Yeah, that was really odd. I tried restarting my modem. Uh, yeah, my data is kind of struggling right now still. That's not right. I'm doing a speed test here on the side, and my ping time is pretty significant. Okay, we have a few viewers jumping on YouTube. All right, let's see if we can get everyone back. Never had that issue before. That's new to me. Okay, if you guys are seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and leave a comment saying that you're here. Then we can continue on with the show, hopefully, without interruption. The first time I've had an issue like that. Also, Facebook, if you guys are on here, go ahead and let me know if you guys can see and hear me all right. It's like there's 11 of you guys on Facebook right now, 4 of you guys on YouTube, so we're trying to get everybody back. Yeah, I had to do a physical restart on my modem slash router, which you guys can barely see the cable down there. I think might be a little difficult for you guys. What's that thing in the corner? Oh, that's the spring. Okay. You guys can probably barely see the cable that I'm running literally across the floor of my apartment into my room. For some reason, when I was doing the preview stream, the Facebook, everything was okay. But as soon as I initiated the stream for Facebook and YouTube, it immediately went to crud. Like, immediately. And would try to fix itself, and then it would just knock itself down again. So, tried unplugging a few cables that didn't work, tried restarting my software, my computer, that didn't work. Last thing I could think of was a physical restart of the internet hardware itself, and that seems to have done the trick. Something. Oh, okay, that's my comment. That's what I get for taking my glasses off. All right. Okay, YouTube's updating, so it shows you guys are here. Again, if you're in the chat, go ahead and let me know. So can make sure that everything is going smooth on your guys' end as well. Gotta make sure my comments are refreshing. Hang on, I'm gonna pull up the preview. Okay, let me pull up the preview real quick. See if we're getting any comments in. Nope. Not at the moment. Okay. If for anyone just tuning in, sorry about the technical difficulties. Just some things came up all of a sudden and trying to diagnose them in real time, get us back up and running, and it seems to be okay now. I'm not sure if we're just not getting comments in or if no one's commenting at the moment. Again, if you guys are on YouTube or Facebook and can see and hear everything all right, go ahead and give me a buzz. Say that you're here or tell me where you're watching from or how your day's going today. Whatever you guys feel like. But I'm looking at the preview on my phone and everything appears to be okay now. I'm not seeing any drops, no bitrate issues. It looks like we're A-okay to go now. I'm just waiting to see the first comment on either platform, which hasn't come up yet. And then once we get that, then we can begin our programming for the night. Okay, there we go. First comment. So looks like everything's good. Thank you, Heidi Venton, for letting me know. Now I just got to cross post the stream to Blue Sky and X, and then we can begin our coverage for the night. Appreciate the patience from everybody, and again, sorry about all of the issues. We just had something come up all of a sudden. I tried to stream earlier. The stream crashed because the bit rate went down to basically 0. Tried a new one after restarting the software in the computer, and I thought maybe it was fixed until I hit go and everything crashed again. So then while the stream was still up, I went outside to my modem and did a hard restart on the modem, and it appears to be okay now. I'm knocking on wood for that, but someone said it looks good, so that's perfect. Exactly what I wanted to hear. So cross-posting it to Blue Sky and X, and then we can begin our coverage. Again, appreciate the patience from everybody. Sorry about all of the difficulties. I guess that's what I get for not live streaming for a whopping 10 days. Whoop-de-doo, am I right? Have all of these issues come up. Okay, it looks like everything is good to go on Blue Sky and X. You just double check to make sure my post is cross-posted, which it did. Okay, awesome. All right, welcome back, everybody. Sorry about the hustle again, about the issues. But it looks like we're all back and ready to go. So, anyway, starting things out, hello there. My name is Anthony. I'm the host and founder of Puget Sound Stormwatch here on Facebook, YouTube, and other platforms. Not going live on TikTok tonight, unfortunately. I'm going to save that for another night. But Facebook and YouTube are the main sites that I want to stream on anyways. Again, apologies for the lack of streams the last couple of weeks. We had a stream 10 days ago, I think, which was a success. But I've been spending a lot of time with my family outside of the blog and the YouTube itself. So as a result, I haven't been live streaming. Been doing a lot of cleaning at my mom's house to help her out and also to get a little side cash because the side cash right now is far and few. So trying to really keep myself from losing my apartment that I worked so hard to get. So please bear with me on that, folks. But nonetheless, with all of that out of the way, let's talk all things weather. So here's a current look at satellite combined with radar, courtesy of windy.com, one of the best interactive weather sites you can use for forecasting and for real-time observations. Highly recommend checking them out. Again, windy.com. We got some new updates on the way from what I was told. And so I can't wait to use this site in the future. Yeah, there's a bunch of little low pressure centers in the Gulf of Alaska right now amidst a much more broad upper level trough. All of these little surface troughs spinning up down below it. So let's go look at geopotential height right now, atmospheric heights. These are at 500 millibars or 18,000 feet. You can tell the area where the lowest pressure is right now, the lowest heights. And then we switch that over to surface pressure and see these little meso lows within the main area of low pressure, which is at approximately 981 millibars at this time. So on the north side of this, there's this pretty definitive spin, and on the south side of it as well, and a few little little meso lows embedded in it too. So between the area of high pressure forming down here right now and the low pressure off to the west, we have, you guys guessed it, the atmospheric river pattern. Yes, I used that sin of a word since apparently it triggers people so much. But we do have the atmospheric river pattern tapping into what looks like the subtropics. So you guys could call this a Pineapple Express if you wanted to. These all the way up into Vancouver Island and the rest of the Pacific Northwest. But for areas south and east of the Olympic Peninsula right now, it looks like our time is done with this. At least for today. Because we zoom in a bit and you see we still have these showers, light to moderate showers with some areas of heavy precipitation still possible as the night goes on for the Washington coast, the Olympic Peninsula, and central Vancouver Island. Have some showers over Skagit, Snohomish, and Whatcom counties right now, as well as San Juan County and Island County. Not doing too much damage, just your usual sort of gloom for this time of the year. Albeit a bit warmer and drier than we're accustomed to. And we lost a lot of people on YouTube there, but bitrate's still going okay. So that's just what I wanted to see. I think we're still okay. Again, if any issues pop up, please let me know as soon as possible. And I will try to correct it to the best of my ability. But with that being said, we're still going to continue our coverage. And if you're watching right now and want anything restated, I will gladly restate anything that you may want clarified. Looking outside my window right now, it looks like the sun has officially set for the night. Or we're just on the last bit of twilight before we go dark. So perfect time for a little live stream. So yeah, the atmospheric river pattern is beginning to dry out, at least for tonight. We're expecting some showers again, and we'll pull up the models. Perfect time to pull up the models. A bunch of... Okay. With a couple comments and a few photos coming in right now on Facebook. So I'm going to check these out real quick. Yeah, someone said that the heat wave in June of 2021 was from an omega blocking pattern. That's the post I was talking about on Facebook and Patreon today, talking about the omega block setting up. Let's zoom out a bit, and I'll show you guys what I mean when I talk about the omega blocking pattern. Okay, maybe.boo, hello. Welcome in. So it's a little bit hard to tell here on the 500 millibar anomaly map, so we'll go up to the jet stream. If I can find it, I may have to go to the traditional European, which it looks like I will, and not the AI forecast system. Yeah, so let's go look at 300 millibar heights, around 30,000 feet, and wind. You can see it much clearer here on the upper level wind map. Can't really watch this because I got a headache. Okay, that's perfectly fine. I understand people probably got a headache from the previous live stream I tried right before 5 o'clock and the beginning of this live stream, but it appears that all of the issues are now corrected. So thank you guys for sticking around through the technical difficulties. Yeah, this is the Omega block pattern expected to fire up here around Monday night and Tuesday of this next week and continue through Wednesday before beginning to break down on Thursday. So this is the upper level ridging here, clockwise winds in the upper atmosphere in the northern hemisphere. So winds that rotate clockwise in the atmosphere, again, if you're north of the equator, indicate a ridge, an area of high pressure, while counterclockwise winds in the northern hemisphere are indicative of troughs or areas of lower pressure. So we have a trough off to the west over the Gulf of Alaska and a trough off to the east, which is bringing snow and wintry weather to the eastern seaboard in the Midwest right now. And so this area of high pressure is being blocked off by these areas of low pressure. And you can see it's shaped like the Greek letter omega. You know, so low pressure, high pressure, low pressure, the omega block. That is basically a crash course on how the omega blocking pattern works. It blocks weather over an area, but has active weather immediately to its west and to its east. This is keeping a dome on top of the weather here along the west coast, but bringing the active weather to the Gulf of Alaska, the greater Pacific area, and the Midwest and eastern seaboard region. So we're going to stay dry and warm, but they're going to stay cooler and wetter, as seen by how snowy it is right now on the eastern seaboard. And someone on my last live stream said they were also watching the Ryan Hall-Y'all live stream too. There's been a lot of controversy with the way that Ryan Hall-Y'all and Max Velocity are running their programs too. And I could see why. There's a lot of odd clickbait going around from them. So I understand. And I don't really have room to talk on this, so I'm not going to talk too much because of what some can argue was clickbait back during the Christmas Eve windstorm that never was. You know, that again is arguable, but I'm not going to go super deep into the speculation right now. So I'm going to leave it at that. How about writing this in English? What? Huh, well, interesting. Fog these temps just wow, okay. Hey Keith, welcome in. Been reading your blogs recently. Great work. You guys want to check out another great source of weather information? Check out K-Dog Weather here on Facebook. Again, another great valuable source of weather here in the Pacific Northwest area. So check out Keith Capolero's page, K-Dog Weather. It's 72 followers. Let's see if we can get him to 100 by the end of the night. I bet he would really appreciate that. Again, K-Dog Weather here. A lot of valuable weather posts and just digging deep into the basics. See, there's his Skywarn certification right there. So he's a Skywarn certified and Meteorology 101 certified page here on Facebook. If you guys want to check out K-Dog Weather, yeah, sure thing, Keith. Glad to help out the smaller pages around here. Get you guys some traction. But anyways, back to the models. So go back to 500 millibar heights. You see, as we go through Tuesday and Wednesday of this next week, the ridge is full on dominant, completely blocking the weather to the west and to the east. The textbook Omega blocking pattern right here. The deep low pressure over the Pacific Ocean, and this could make its way eventually by the end of the run. We have to go back to the 12Z to look any further than 144 hours. But it is showing the ridge breaking down as we go into Thursday and Friday, potentially allowing some little troughs to clip into the upper level pattern and bring some weather systems in. Basically, what that means is just your typical rain and wind that we've been accustomed to this January, continuing into February as well. See, the European swings an okay trough into the area by the end of this weekend. And then it kind of brings the active weather pattern. See, look, that would be pretty impressive right there. But we're way in the fantasy land. This is 2 weeks down the stretch here. This would be the morning of Valentine's Day. Could you imagine having this plume of cold air and lower atmospheric heights right over us on Valentine's Day? Let's see what this would translate to on the surface maps. It's a pretty potent system. Doesn't look like it has much moisture, but it appears it would definitely have the temperatures, which, again, dealing with the lower resolution of the European compared to the high-res maps like the HER, the NAM, and the RRFS, for example. So it's not always going to be 100% accurate on the precipitation type over a generalized area. But it does show the potential for maybe some snow north of Everett here, north and east of Everett. So the mountains would get pretty good snow out of this setup. And maybe north of Everett too. But remember, we're 360 hours out here. This is the impossible land to forecast. So take this with a grain of salt. Because I'm almost certain that this pattern will completely flop as we go into the first week of February. But let's look at things briefly here over the short term real fast while we have everyone here. See, the European shows the shower activity starting to wean off as we go into tonight. And then it brings what's left of that atmospheric river into Seattle by early tomorrow morning, with steady showers, some of which could be moderate to heavy at times throughout the day on Sunday. And then another system comes through Monday morning, starts to dry out. And then after that system on Monday morning, once it dries out Monday afternoon, then we get to relax under that ridge for a short while. But by the time we get into Saturday morning, there's the potential for another moderate system to move into the area, which could easily bring some steady rainfall amounts west of the Cascades. Let's zoom out a little bit. I want to see if these bring any atmospheric river characteristics or if these are just fronts coming through. Let's go look at precipitable water real quick. Yeah, it has characteristics of an atmospheric river for sure. This concentrated plume of moisture focused on our area. It doesn't look like Washington's going to be hit exceptionally hard by this, which is good news. But it does bring it stronger into southern Oregon and northern California. See, it's even showing some weak atmospheric river potential as we go out into about 13 to 14 days into the future, too. There's something we'll have to keep our eyes on here, but right now it's not a super strong signal, so that's good news on that. Let's zoom out a bit more so we can make sure it's not a super elongated cold front before I jump the gun on this. Let's zoom out to the global level. Yeah, that answers my question. Pineapple Express doesn't get any more textbook than that. There's Hawaii right here. Yeah, super concentrated plume of moisture aimed directly at the Pacific Northwest. That's a Pineapple Express atmospheric river system for sure. But likely to change because we're almost a week into the forecast on that. So see, that ridge over us keeps this plume of subtropical moisture well off to our west. So that blocking pattern is going to be coming in beneficial for you non-rain lovers. But if you want to build any snowpack before we get into the drier months of the year, then we need the snow for the mountains as soon as possible. Like we're getting borderline desperate here for snow in the mountains right now. And I bet Keith can atone to that also. But yeah, we're 5 days in the future here. So Thursday, this is around the time that plume of moisture, that plume. No, what am I trying to say here? Around the time that area of high pressure begins to move off to the east and allow the jet stream to move back over us. Then this plume of moisture begins to move in, which right now appears to be more focused on Oregon, but I'll be watching to see if it moves any farther northward towards areas like Vancouver Island and the Washington coast. Keith agrees. Okay, that's perfect. Yeah. Good to see multiple people agree on this. And I know the GFS is going to be completely different, but I want to look at the AI forecast system. Go to the most recent one real quick. See if it shows any major differences from the traditional European. See, there's a difference right there. The AI forecast system actually brings the plume of moisture directly into Washington State, which would bring heavier, in effect, heavier rainfall amounts to our area. Let's zoom in a ways to the Pacific Northwest. We're looking at 6-hour precipitation amounts right now, and yeah, that would bring a fairly rainy period to the coast, the Olympics, and potentially the Cascades, as well as Northwest Washington. And again, with this being subtropical moisture, I'm not too sure that would be good for our snowpack. But let's look at total snowfall right now. This is low resolution, so I'm not going to be super optimistic of what this shows. But during that initial period, it's okay for the snowpack, but it's not fantastic. Hey there, JustBeen808. Hello, welcome back. Good to see we're not hearing any issues on this live stream right now, knock on wood. We had some major technical issues at the beginning, but we have fixed those. So now we're smooth sailing the rest of the way, hopefully. Yeah, snowpack on the AI forecast system is marginal at best for the higher elevations here in Washington State. But again, I have to clarify the asterisk here. The resolution being so low doesn't have great terrain exaggeration on the European or its AI counterpart. And don't even get me started on the GFS. Like, GFS is a pretty poor model when it comes to deterministic use. So, doesn't look good for lowland snow. Yeah, it still doesn't look good for lowland snow this year. I agree on that. We go look at climatological models here. And look ahead into the future, and it looks cooler and wetter in the 12Z run this morning. The climatological model here, the European weeklies, the EPS weeklies, what they call it here, the mean model, runs not twice a day, sorry, twice a week. So runs twice a week. So this was not today. So let me scratch that real quick. This was a couple of days ago. We'll probably have to wait till tomorrow to see the next run, because will we? No, I don't think I have my days right here. Sorry, folks. I'm a little bit scatterbrained tonight, so please bear with me on that. But yeah, this is out 252 hours. And just the temperatures at 5,000 feet are abysmal. Just absolutely abysmal for mountain snowpack. And it's still marginal, like hardly even marginal. This is not a good signal for snowpack going through the rest of February. Even into the beginning of March, it looks toasty up in the mountains. You don't want to see this on the long range extended model runs. So look at precipitation rate. Precipitation rate looks to get better as you go into March, but just how warm is it going to be, really? Again, let's compare that to snowfall rate anomalies, which right now look good for the mountains going into March. That's a good signal. I like to see that. That's an okay signal. Better than nothing, but oh man, the signal going into the beginning of February here is all right. Julie says, okay, liked and shared again. Looks like it's happening. Yeah, this is not a signal you want to see for mountain snow. These are again showing snowfall rate anomalies in the super long range models. These are really low resolution. Like that's why it goes so far into the forecast, because of how low the resolution it is. But you know, we're gonna have to compare these time periods again from run to run. See, it hasn't changed very much in the previous runs as we go back in time here. It's actually gotten worse over time. Yeah, it's gotten a bit worse in the last 5 or 6 runs of this model, which is not a good trend you want to see. Like Keith says, very dismal. Yes, I agree on that. Let's go look at surface temperature anomalies in the long range. And we're either above average or leaning above average for the rest of this model run here. Not good for lowland snow. Not good at all. So see, the 0Zs start out at hour 168. The 12Zs start out at hour 252. That's just because the models run every 84 hours, as seen here. Every 3.5 days. So, twice a week. So far no comments on Facebook. That's a little unusual. I think maybe having an issue on Facebook. So let me restart the comments. And if I'm missing comments, then I'm sorry if you're watching. I'm going to refresh. Okay. Yeah. Wow. I missed a lot of comments. Sorry about that, guys. My Facebook stream didn't recover from when I restarted the modem. So I'm going to go back through your comments again one more time. Couldn't get to your site over on YouTube. Now, apparently an issue here on Facebook. Says Robert Burton, but I did swear I saw you previously on YouTube, but that, I guess, was the first live stream. So, good to see you back. Dagmar says, good here 30 minutes ago. See and hear you now, Kim. YouTube is only allowing subscribers to comment. Yeah, I have YouTube set to subs only. Just to keep a lot of the spam and the bots out. So literally, as soon as you subscribe on YouTube, it gives you the option to comment. It's just, think of it like a CAPTCHA when you're signing up for a site. It's just to make sure you're not a robot. It prevents a lot of spam that way. Jordan Corbell says his day going all right. Mary Doherty says I'm here. So here we are all commenting. Getting low fog in the fields here. Please give us a heads up if we get any silly wind coming when the weather changes. Hopefully nothing bad is coming, says Kim. Nothing bad that I can see right now. Hopefully you guys on Facebook are all still here. Promise I wasn't ignoring you. I was just having issues from the stream earlier, but we got everything fixed. So if you guys are still here on Facebook, and I'm going to have to restart the stream page here on Facebook. It won't drop the stream, but I do have to restart the page on Facebook because it's out of date. Okay, there we go. Much better. Much better. Someone sent stars. Okay, thank you, Mary Doherty, for sending 200 stars. Really appreciate that. How's my mom doing? Great question. She got her biopsy back and she's cancer-free. So no cancer this time around at least, which is a big sigh of relief. She's been slowly trying to get back into working shape, but unfortunately, you know, her body's only telling her she can do so much. Hope you're doing well, sir. Hope everything is on schedule for the new job prospect. Yeah, I haven't heard anything back. in the last couple of weeks. You know, I know my eventual boss, who was my friend that gave me the job, is going on vacation with his significant other soon, so I'm not going to bother him during that time. Once I get back from vacation, then we'll probably talk more technical details. Because right now, again, in the show business, January and February are considered the slow months. So I'm just hoping things become a bit more stable before it's too late. By that I mean keeping this roof over my head and this setup in front of me. If things do get dire, I do have places I can go, thankfully. My parents are nice enough to let me move back in with them, worst comes to worst. But for right now, I want to focus short term here, and I want to focus on this stream right now. So, yeah, thank you for checking in on the mother unit. She is doing okay right now. A lot of the reason I haven't been doing streaming is because I've been spending a lot of time over at my mom's house helping clean up the house as well. So, like, vacuuming and shampooing the carpets, cleaning all the furniture, vacuuming, like even vacuuming the ceiling, because they have popcorn ceilings that are 40 years old. So of course, going to be cobwebs and all of that. I've been just taking care of all of that, you know, all of that business that kind of gets overlooked. You know, the last time mountain snowpack was so low. I have to think here. I would like to say, Keith, I'm probably going to need your intel on this, because when it comes to historical records, I'm kind of firing blanks. Last year, I'd say, was okay around this time. I think last year was better. I believe the last time we had significant decreases in mountain snowfall anomalies for this time of year was 2019. And we all know what happened in February of 2019. We got a dumping of snow on us. But as it stands right now, the mid and long range models are not showing that same fate. Let's go show you guys what I mean here real fast. But I know for sure. Oh, thank you, Julie. Sent a super of $5 for housework. Thank you so much for that, Julie. Really, really appreciate that donation. Speaking of donations, also, before we get too far into this, a reminder, where did I just realized my coffee screen is no longer showing up. It's odd. Yeah, for some reason it's no longer showing coffee donations on here. I'll probably have to fix that next stream. I don't want to spend too much time. Okay, hang on. I just hit the refresh button. It was just one button, dude. Come on. Come on, Antonio. Get to it. Okay, we're back. Perfect. So yeah, again, before I get too far, I just wanted to copy and paste this link for you guys. This is the best way to help donate. Either one time or monthly if you guys feel like it. I'm going to refresh the comments one more time here on Facebook as well. Make sure I haven't missed anything. We're going to pin those comments. Yeah, thank you guys for all the generosity. I wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. It's unfortunate that I have to step down from full-time coverage, but it is, it is what it is. So let me refresh Facebook, make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah. Wow, Facebook is really acting up. Okay. Valerie Donovan, thank you if you're still watching in the last 5 minutes for your donations of 100 and an additional 50 stars. So thank you for your donation, Valerie Donovan Denny, of 150 stars on Facebook. Really appreciate that. Pete says, yeah, snowpack is between 39 and 82% based on where you are. So yeah, not good. And we have Misty Bikini, aka Tanya, in the chat. crazy good weather today. Not complaining, just crazy good depending on what side you are on. Because it started out rainy and then it dried up depending on exactly where you are here in the Sound or just Western Washington in general. It's still kind of raining between Everett and Bellingham a bit, and raining pretty good over the northwestern Olympic Peninsula. But around here, around the Sound itself, it is dried out. You see, if we zoom in a bit, we still have some of these showers that are hanging around. Some stubborn showers over the Black Hills, Capitol Peak area, moving up into the Olympics. And these are mainly southwest to northeast or south-southwest to north-northeast movers also. See, it's almost due south to north at this point. So a lot of these showers tonight are going to be missing the Seattle-Tacoma metro area to the west. But kind of a mixed bag of weather today, because I've gotten some photos sent to me today of the fog also. Fog beginning to form around the area. Between weather systems. That ridge hasn't set up yet, so we don't have that low-level temperature inversion. Really, it's just over areas of water that I've seen, like over lakes and ponds and whatnot, just because the water temperature is much lower than the ambient temperature at the moment. And so that mixing of warm and cool temps is allowing for the water vapor to condense right above the water level. And that is the fog that you're seeing right now. Yeah, like Keith said, Oregon snowpack is abysmal. Winter coming back, you think? I wish I could give you a definitive answer on that, honestly. It's looking pretty dismal, like Keith said. It's looking really dismal for snowpack for the mountains. And the lowlands, don't even get me started on that. It's looking like the lowlands could go this entire winter without snow, as it currently stands. A lot of the local weather enthusiasts and some meteorologists also, as well as myself, have been talking behind the scenes about this. We talk about it on a daily basis. I've taken a small hiatus from the group though, however. Kind of just been doing my own thing and focusing on things outside of weather the last week and a half or so. Just catching up on family time because I haven't had too much of that recently. So it's just family time is something I don't take for granted. So that's where I've been. I've been keeping up with the daily public blog posts, but you guys notice I kind of took a hiatus from the premium posts, like from the Facebook sub page. And if you're a patron, like a person that pays on Patreon, then you would understand what I'm talking about. Where I went like 5 or 6, maybe even 7 days without making a premium post. Started that up again. I stayed the night at my mom's last night, so I wasn't able to put out a blog post. No, the night before. So Thursday night. Yeah, Thursday night. I stayed the night at my mom. So I didn't make a blog post, subscriber post on Friday, yesterday. I did make one today, going a little bit further into what an Omega block is. Let's go read through the comments one more time. Again, still kind of having some issues with Facebook's comments, so I may be missing a few comments. My apologies about that. Thank you again, Valerie Donovan Denny, for your additional donation of 50 stars. Snoqualmie Valley was beautiful. Oh, I bet it was. This evening we had some fog. Yeah, I'll have to keep an eye outside my window because I'm not seeing widespread fog at the moment. We could have some fog form directly in and around the Puget Sound as a result of the cooler water temps and the warmer ambient temps like we've seen over some of the smaller bodies of water today. So there certainly is a chance of that. Don't be surprised if you get some fog tonight if you're directly along the Puget Sound or over the Puget Sound. Few lightning strikes in the Mount Baker area. Yeah, I saw Keith. No, not Keith. I saw Randy with Whatcom County Weather comment on that. That kind of caught me by surprise. I don't think any of the short-range convective models were showing any lightning strikes at that time. Let's go check a few of them out. I want to check out the HRRR real quick and see what the HRRR was showing. But we'll have to go back to probably a few hours before the 18Z Check lightning flash potential and see if it picked up on that. Not the 18Z. Let's check out the hourly runs after that. Yeah, it got something up here. Maybe a bit farther west and a bit sooner than previously predicted, but the HER 19Z did kind of hint at something up there. Yeah, the 19Z is the only one that hinted from what I can see. Go check the 12Z. At the 12Z HER actually did an alright job. I'm not gonna lie, the 12Z HER did kind of pick up on it. 6Z HER, not as good. 0Z HER definitely dropped the ball. Not too shabby from the HRRR, aka the HER. A couple of the model runs picked it up. Not too shabby. Same here, been doing a lot of blog posts. Yeah, I've been keeping up on those, Keith. Yeah, great job on the blog post. Keep up the good work. Again, huge shout out to Keith Capolero. Check out K-Dog Weather here on Facebook. I want to see if we can get him to 100 followers. That's 72 right now. Can we get him up to 100 followers by tonight? If you guys on Facebook are watching right now, go ahead and follow, again, K-Dog Weather here on Facebook. Great source of local weather information and a lot of technical tidbits as well. Fog rolled into our backyard with a quickness at dusk tonight. We looked for fire. Yeah, let's go check some current observations. I think some of these may have some visibility gauges on them, potentially. And make sure I pull up the right site here. It's been a while since I've checked out the current OBS. Let's go load up the site real quick and go look at the observations. A few of these do have visibility. Yeah, already seeing decreased visibility around the South Sound in some areas. Down the 5 miles here at the Narrows. About 1.25 miles here in Kent, 1.1 miles to Quilla, and apparently less than a half mile around JBLM and Fort Lewis. Anyone around the area, can you chime in? Let me know if these readings are accurate. Let's make sure we have every single one selected. See, a lot of areas are reporting full visibility, but there are some areas where the visibility appears to have decreased, at least according to gauges. Just gonna have to keep refreshing comments here on Facebook because Facebook appears to have never recovered from when the stream crashed earlier. For anyone who may have missed it, I had to do a physical restart on my modem. That's what eventually fixed it. But we had a live stream I tried firing up a few minutes before 5 and it failed completely. I did a software and hardware restart in the room here, was unsuccessful, so the only thing I could think about doing was resetting the modem, and that fixed it. Tanya says, yeah, it does kind of look like smoke. Parkland Spanaway is pretty foggy. Okay, thank you for the heads up. That just confirms things. Because the nearest sites to Parkland and Spanaway are reporting dense fog. Let's see what the models are picking up for fog. Let's look at visibility here on the recent 0Z HER. It's picking up on it tonight. This is around 11 p.m. It shows dense fog down here in the South Sound and Southwest interior areas. Mainly directly around the Puget Sound. But some fog also possible in the low-lying valleys. It's not extremely dense. And then that next weather system comes through tomorrow to stir up the air and mix that fog out of the area. You can imagine, again, we're going to have some foggy days likely when that ridge sets up shop as we go into Tuesday, potentially all the way through Thursday. So be prepared for cooler nights and foggier nights the middle of next week. Pretty much textbook again when we have these upper level ridges set up shop. We get these low level air inversions that cap the air below them and allow temperatures to really drop down, as we saw with our recent ridge this last week. Temperatures below freezing area wide, and some areas down into the teens even that we saw too. So definitely going to be some visibility concerns, mainly south of Tacoma as we go through later tonight. So if you don't have to drive, I would recommend not driving if you're south of Tacoma, all the way down into Olympia. But it's not going to be much longer before that next system comes in tomorrow morning. So it's going to be a quick round of fog, and then these systems are going to come through and really stir up the air again. So we won't have fog concerns after that until probably either Monday night or Tuesday morning at the earliest by the looks of it. But yeah, thank you guys for the eyewitness reports. It makes this forecasting much easier to have witnesses. Let's look at cloud cover right now. Yeah, this is factoring in cloud cover at all levels. So surface, aka fog, low-level clouds, mid-level clouds, and high-level clouds. So a combination of all of it is going to result in pretty much no clear sky overnight. The HRRR model only goes out 48 hours right now, so we're not in range of Tuesday yet. You can go look at the experimental model, which is just starting the 0Z run. So I'm going to let that initialize. All of the 0Z runs are going through right now, except for the HRRR 1Z run is initializing. So we'll probably wait till the 0Zs begin or finish rendering, and then we'll take a look at that. Bellingham visibility is 10 miles. That it is, yes. In Bellingham Airport proper, but areas to your south and north already reporting reduced visibilities out there. And let's go take a look at what the HRRR model is showing for that. And yeah, the HRRR model shows slightly reduced visibilities, but it's not showing the heavily reduced visibilities like we are here. These are actual physical visibility gauges. And these are showing visibility around 1.25 miles to the north and directly to the south of Bellingham. But Mount Vernon area, down here in the lower elevations, it's doing okay right now. Just when you start to get south of Everett into some areas, see, the visibility has gone up to a half mile here at JBLM, but it's quickly going down here at the Tacoma Narrows. Visibility is already half of what it was just minutes ago. See, visibility down to 2 miles at Bremerton Airport. But still doing really good down here in the southwest interior. Not seeing any huge fog impacts right now. And I want to show you guys a pretty cool site I found too, weatherspark.com. Really great analytical site. So I have the SeaTac Airport pulled up right here, and I want to make sure I have this refreshed. See, so it shows current observations here. The visibility 10 miles or greater, so full visibility right there. It has MEDAR readings for those of you who know how to read MEDAR. And it shows temperature trends over the last month. So you see the temperature's gotten close to 60 at one point. The spread is pretty considerable here. We got up close to 60 at SeaTac on the 13th of this month, right around 57, 58. And then we got all the way down here, all the way down to about 27, 26 degrees on the 24th and 25th. And now we're on an upward trend again as we go into February. So the max high and low temperatures today right now are preliminary, but it currently looks like the high temp for today is at around 57 degrees or so. 56 or 57 degrees on the day so far. Again, this is weatherspark.com if you guys want to go check this out. And just look up the SeaTac airport. So right behind my camera here, there's a box here that says find city or airport. And then it shows hourly temperature. There were times where we were quote unquote very cold here. The blue right here, the blue is freezing. And the green right here, the lime green color, is cool. These lighter greens here, these are quote unquote cold. And the darker greens are very cold. And they show all of the temperature margins right down here too. For example, freezing is anywhere, in this case, between 15 degrees and 32 degrees Fahrenheit, which we saw at times between the 19th and the 26th of this month. So we're really just taking this time to just go and look over the month again and sort of give it a rating. I think my preliminary rating for January is going to be a solid D, maybe a D plus. You know, if we had any moisture when the air temperature was cooler, then we'd probably be pushing C minus territory. But just when we got that cool air, it was just too dry. We couldn't have the moisture and the temperature line up the way that we wanted for any lowland snow. And the main reason why it's so low is just because of the mountain snowpack for this time of the year being so abysmal. That's why my rating on January is so low. Hopefully February is much better, but again, the long-range forecast right now doesn't show any significant signs of improvement for the mountain snowpack going into February. And we're going into dire territory here. You know, there's a chance we could start to rebuild our snowpack a bit in the spring, but I'm not gonna be betting any numbers on it. Honestly. I just think this spring, it's too soon to really go into the spring outlook. We can check out some spring outlooks here on the CPC, the Climate Prediction Center. Go and look at a few. Let me see if I can pull this up for you guys real quick. Try to look at, okay, I think seasonal potentially. So let's go to March, April, and May. Yeah, so the seasonal outlook's here. And it's not looking too good. I'll be honest, it's really not looking too good for us. We have right around equal chances, but we want to see the darker blue in this area for any good signs of building that mountain snowpack and potentially getting some lowland snow. And again, we're right on equal chances here as well for precipitation. Again, you want to see the darker green colors over here, which just kind of gives me an ill feeling to my stomach as we go into the spring and summer, because if we don't get any mountain snowpack soon, then it is going to be a long, long summer, you guys. Very long and detrimental summer, with drought concerns and wildfire concerns being almost certain for much of Western Washington. Washington State and the Pacific Northwest in general. Let's see, now we're looking all the way into summer. July, August, September here, 2026. Terrible, terrible signal. Eastern Washington being below average on precipitation, and the entire Pacific Northwest, really the entire United States. Look, even Alaska here is above average potentially for seasonal temperatures this summer. It's looking like it's going to be a really toasty summer as of as of the January 15th issuance of this climatological data. Again, this is from the Climate Prediction Center. So this is all reliable and credible information I'm giving to you guys right now. Let's see, they go way out into the future. And again, the confidence really decreases. And I mean, really decreases as you go farther into the future. But, you know, the point is there. It's not looking great as we go out into the summertime for temperatures or precipitation. Again, let's check the February, March, April outlook, and it's a little bit below normal for temperatures in Northeast Washington, but again, we're still seeing equal chances for much of the Pacific Northwest. And above average precipitation possible for Eastern Washington, which is good for them, but west of the Cascades, again, showing equal chances of precipitation. Not really a good look, if we're being brutally honest here. So yeah, that's information from the CPC, the Climate Prediction Center. Look at how fast the visibility is going down around here. We're already down to a mile or less at the Tacoma Narrows, so this fog is literally forming out of thin air. I believe now that the air temperature has cooled significantly, that the water temperature could be higher than the air temperature, which is allowing this fog to form. But it could also be the other way around, too. You know, maybe the air temperature is still a bit warmer than the water temperature, even though the sun has set, and that's allowing all of this water vapor to condense down near the surface. That's usually how fog forms, is by the ambient temperature cooling down to the dew point temperature and allowing that water vapor to condense. You know, fog is just condensed water vapor. That's all it is. Nothing really fancy to it. Yeah, the visibility down here in the South Sound, see, we're down from 9 miles to 4 miles here at Tunfield now. So even the higher elevations down here in the lowlands, like South Hill and North Hill, are starting to see degraded visibility. So let me check outside my window real quick. I can still see okay right now here in Milton. But some areas to the south and west of Milton right now are starting to see that fog roll in pretty quickly. Now we're down to a half mile at Bremerton too. So this general area of the South Sound right here is quickly losing visibility due to fog. Very quickly. Mount Hood Ski Bowl is shutting down service after tomorrow due to the lack of snow. It's from an Oregon area meteorologist. Due to current snow and weather conditions, ski and ride operations will be suspended after Sunday night. Again, that's the Mount Hood Ski Bowl down in northern Oregon. Daniel says a possible cool down in Cascade snow in mid-February. Snyder says it is a possibility, has been showing it on Pacific Northwest Weather Watch for a while now. Yeah, I definitely agree with Michael on that. There's a potential cool down, yeah, but it's not a great signal from what I can see right now on forecast models. And we can go back to the weeklies here and look at that one more time. Zoom in quite a bit here. Go to snowfall rate anomaly. Yeah, I think I was talking about this signal earlier about how the middle and end of February and the very beginning of March looks much better for snowfall for the Cascades. But again, just we're probably, right now, my guesstimation is we're probably not going to see any more lowland snow for the rest of this winter. And I say any more because some areas of the lowlands have seen very isolated snow. Like mainly if you're going up into the foothills along the Skykomish east of Sultan, where they reported some snow after Christmas. Some areas of Gold Bar got up to 4 inches of snow when a convergence zone set up. That, as far as I know, is the only area outside of maybe some of the higher elevations going between Skagit and Whatcom counties. Like the Alger area, I believe got a little bit of snow at the beginning of this year, if I'm not mistaken. Outside of those particular areas, no one else has seen even a flake of snow. Again, it's extremely, extremely uncommon. Even around mild parts like these, you usually see at least one lower end snow event. I was looking at some footage I got too when I first moved into this apartment last year around this time. Actually, last year, I got some footage of some light snow accumulating right outside my front porch and my back porch here. And it just made me think, I mean, we haven't even seen that this year. That's pretty incredible, if we're being honest. And a lot of people are asking why exactly, like diving deeper into that, exactly why. I believe the reason why is probably because due to higher sea surface temperature anomalies around this area, pushing the jet stream to the north and allowing this ridging to form over us consistently. Yeah, Keith agrees with that. See, Jess Benes is commenting the crying emoji. Yeah, I agree. I wish I had real life tears for this, but I don't right now. Would be nice to see snow, but also would like my kids' school to end on time and not be extended due to snow days. It's bittersweet for a lot of us. And notice that snow signature as we go later on in the March here, as we go out to March 8th approximately, falls off. The temperature anomalies for the Puget Sound, see, like, that's a terrible signature right now. Going through hours, so hours 84 to 252 here from the time of the run. So this was 4 a.m. on Thursday when this model ran. So from 84 to 252 hours. So this is all the way out to February 8th at 4 p.m. So from the time of the run, which again is from January 29th to February 8th here, showing abysmal snowfall rate chances all across the Pacific Northwest, all of it. If you're not slightly above average, then you're way above average. But even for the higher elevations here, it's a dismal snow signal going into the first full week of February here. It's something you really, really don't want to see. You know, we may just have to wait. We may just have to wait until the end of February, beginning of March, and just hope for a sign of renewed mountain snowpack. All the snow went to the East Coast, yes. And the current Omega block set up over our area, which is why the ridge is in place. You know, we have a trough to the west over the Gulf of Alaska. We have the ridge over us, and then a trough over the East Coast and Midwest. That trough is actually bringing all of that snow to the eastern seaboard and the Midwest areas right now. If this Omega block were centered a few thousand miles farther to the west, then there's a good chance we'd be getting that snow right now. But things don't always go our way, do they? Great nephew in Atlanta sent me a pic of a snowman he built today. Well, tell him to rub it in. Tell him, feel free to rub it into our wounds. And Tori was just at North Carolina Outer Banks and snow up to his knees. Yeah, I don't have cable, so I don't watch the Weather Channel anymore. I do follow Cantori on X, but I really haven't been on X much today, actually. So maybe he did make a post. Maybe the Weather Channel official X account. Hmm. Sorry, I just saw kind of a funky post on X. Okay, yeah, back on track. That was kind of odd. Let's see, the climate summaries are out today as well. Let's go SeaTac Airport climate summary. So we got 0.08 inches of precipitation today at the SeaTac Airport. The low was 46 and the high was 57 today. So a very mild day around the area. Extremely mild day. Okay, Julie says it was a social media post. I'll have to be on the lookout for that. But I'm not going to focus too much on the East Coast weather. I'm going to focus more on the West Coast weather. Again, particularly the Puget Sound area, because that's why we're called Puget Sound Stormwatch, right? Again, look at that ridge signature for the first week of February. It shows potent upper level ridging over our area. And then the ridge begins to break down as we go into the second week of February. Continues to bring troughing in to go into the third week. And then the last week into the first week of March looks cooler and wetter as well. I'm going to go compare that to the European ensembles real quick, the next 15 days. See what the ensembles show for upper level heights right now once it renders. Julie says, I'm loving our weather. The weather has been pretty calm, only a little bit of rain. You know, I think it said on the month we had 4.28 inches at SeaTac. And I wish my rain gauge was recording all that rain the very beginning of the year. But unfortunately, my rain gauge, the lever that moves actually got stuck because of how much gunk was built up under it. Because I had cleaned my rain gauge out right before the new year, so I thought I would be okay. And then it started raining shortly after the new year started, and they literally got stuck in the just a pile of sludge and dirt below the rain gauge lever. Because it has a little moving part inside the actual rain gauge. And so it didn't record any of the rainfall for the first chunk of January. Like literally, before I went back up and cleaned it again a few days ago, it recorded 0.00 inches of rain for January. When a lot of areas received several inches of rain. So that kind of flustered me. But it did record the rainfall the last couple days. So I'll just have to put an asterisk next to readings for January monthly rainfall. But I do have all of the measurements as far as I know, all of the analytics for temperature, humidity, dew point, wind, all of that. But not rainfall. Again, just something that's mildly irritating, but I'm not going to let it bother me too much. So you see, even the ensembles, which are an average of 50 different members and a control run, are showing super strong upper level, like super strong ridging is what I'm trying to say. So really large upper level height anomalies in terms of increases. Like this is 27 decameters above normal, which is pretty huge. Then it shows the trough moving in at the beginning of next week. So the ridge really begins to start breaking down Thursday, and then that will allow that next system in Thursday night and Friday morning. So then the jet stream sets up shop over us. That's the solid white color right there. And that potentially brings in another Pineapple Express. Exactly where that Pineapple Express sets up shop is still a little bit uncertain right now. The European itself brings it down into Oregon, but the European's AI counterpart brings it up into Washington. There's just something we'll have to watch because that determines who will get the heaviest rainfall at the beginning of next week. And potentially this weekend too. See, it swings a trough through and then maybe a little transient ridge. But then it kind of opens up the storm window once more as we go into the second week of February. So we could start making up this mountain snowpack that quickly. Let's go pull up. Let's do total snowfall 10-to-1 ratio. Again, due to the resolution issues, it's going to show some of the snowfall leaking down into the lowlands. Don't trust that signature. See, we have some snowfall all the way up through the first Tuesday of February, and then we get a brief pause between systems. So this pause, this is our upper level ridge that sets up. So we get a pause in accumulations. And then after Thursday, we start to increase that snowfall again. But not as much as we'd like to see for this time of year. You want to see feet and feet of snow being dumped on the mountains. See, we have, like over Mount Baker, for example, we have around 4 feet being dumped through the next 15 days. But you want a lot more than that. You know, you want all of this white and lighter colors than that even, all the way down here over our mountains over this time period, which right now we're just not really seeing that. And let's go see what the AI ensembles are showing for that too, which AI ensembles don't show snow, unfortunately. Hopefully they'll fix that very soon in an update. So now we're looking at precipitable water anomalies. This is how much precipitation can fall over an area at a given time. So it's a measure of precipitation potential. And see, this shows that atmospheric river pattern on the AI forecast system being directly over the Washington coast, which would be beneficial for sure for our rain here after going into next weekend. So that ridge begins to break down again Thursday and allows this Pineapple Express / atmospheric river to slide east into our area. Right now it looks pretty progressive, so it's not going to be hung up over our area for too long. And even then, it doesn't look super potent at the moment. So it's more of a weak to moderate atmospheric river. Let me just make sure of this. Let me pull up the atmospheric river site that I use from the University of California, San Diego. See what they have to show for the next week. See, for the GFS control, it hardly even shows anything. Category 1 atmospheric river. European is slightly different. The European has category 2 atmospheric river conditions for northern Oregon, but only category 1 atmospheric river conditions for some of the Washington coast. Again, this is just based on the European ensemble average. It's a little bit different between the control and the average, but the same for the Washington and Oregon coast. Keith says Mount Baker has 115 inches of snow. Yeah, Mount Baker is really the only area that's fine on snowpack around this area. You know, the upper elevations, like the tallest peaks, are okay, but the passes are not doing so well. Again, a lot of our watersheds are at or below pass level too. We really need those watersheds to be full or near full for the summertime when we enter our driest months. And if we don't have that, we're likely going to have a lot of issues with water conservation coming up, which I remember that was a huge issue back in 2021, I think it was too, where they had actually asked my store at the time, Safeway, when I had first gotten into the produce department there, they asked us to conserve our water in the produce department due to a local ordinance, which we thought was kind of fishy. But I think 2021 was a pretty dry water year as well for the mountains, if I recall correctly. But again, it's not showing a major atmospheric river right now. It's going to be a lower to moderate end atmospheric river at best. See, visibility already down to a quarter mile that quickly at the Narrows. So in the last hour, we saw this go from, I think, 5 miles all the way down to basically nothing. That's at the Narrows Airport. And again, check out K-Dog weather. Okay, so we got him one more follower. This is for you, Keith. Let's see if we can get Keith to 100 followers. He has a lot of verified followers too, such as Ingalls Weather, Washington Weather Chasers, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch, Shannon O'Donnell, and Scott Sistek. So, very reliable guy you have here. Follow K-Dog Weather on Facebook. So let's compare this to what the European, traditional European is showing during that time. Let's see, the placement's different. The traditional European deterministic has this atmospheric river much farther south, down here over Oregon, while the AI model, which is quickly, as Michael Snyder with Pacific Northwest Weather Watch says, the AI is becoming the more favorable model in terms of accuracy. That one has the Pineapple Express set up a bit farther north along the Washington coast. Let's go check that out one more time here. Show you guys the comparison at this time. See, a bit farther north on the AI compared to the traditional deterministic. In the 18Z, the difference between the 12Z and the 18Z actually pushes it a bit farther west at first. It really offsets its timing by a little bit, by 6 to 12 hours. But other than that, the strength of the system hasn't changed. So again, this is showing a potential Pineapple Express around the Washington coast Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, and Sunday morning coming up. This is next week, by the way. Next week. This is not today. This is next week. Yeah, like Julie says. Oh, Julie says it's going to be enough. We're going to have enough water and more. Sure hope you're right. Let's follow up on that in a couple months' time. Let's see how that statement holds up. If it holds up, then I will applaud you for sure. Starting to wonder if these El Nino/La Nina neutral predictions are even accurate anymore. Well, depending on who you listen to on this information, a lot of people now say that El Nino, La Nina, and neutral oscillations aren't really accurate anymore for the Pacific Northwest. More so other areas around the world, mainly down in the equatorial Pacific, but it doesn't really have a huge effect on our weather up here. Yeah, January 2024 was an El Nino winter, and we got an Arctic blast. And yeah, February of 2019, one of the more remarkable El Nino winters, where we got that huge amount of snow in February. We all thought, because January was bone dry that year as well, we all thought maybe, okay, this El Nino winter is going to hold up and we're going to be bone dry and warmer than average. And then February came around and slammed the door on that real quick. So yes, Daniel, you do make a great point. And I agree with those people that say that the ENSO, the El Nino Southern Oscillation, is not really a great measure anymore of predicting the climatological patterns up here in the Pacific Northwest. AKA just the weather patterns year round up here. I feel like it's more of a Madden-Julian oscillation or Pacific North American / EPO oscillation, like Eastern Pacific or Pacific North American oscillation, probably has a greater effect on our weather than the ENSO, the El Nino Southern Oscillation, just from what I've seen in the past. And right now, for what it's worth, the oscillations for our parts including the PNA and the EPO, again, as I was talking about, are leaning negative, which is what you want to see for better mountain snowpack and better lowland snow potential going into the later parts of winter. So let's just kind of soak that in for a moment. I unfortunately don't have access to that data here on Pivotal Weather. I would if I still had Weather Bell, but if you guys remember, I lost that back in October. I've not been able to get it back. We're just kind of dealing with what I have to show you guys right now. Last atmospheric river almost drowned my car. The sunroof drains were clogged enough they couldn't keep up and overflow went inside. Electronic night. Nightmare. Okay, that makes more sense. I was like, hang on, electronic night, what does that mean? Yeah, electronic nightmare. Sounds about right. I certainly believe it. I've definitely had issues where my sunroof drain has overflowed in previous times and just dripped. It hasn't flowed into my vehicle, but it did drip at times. But it hasn't done that in a couple of years, knock on wood. So, guess it just depends on your vehicle, right? Sometimes others are luckier. See what the GFS has for curiosity purposes. See, the GFS has a polar opposite solution. It keeps the Pineapple Express almost entirely off the coast. So the GFS, again, is its usual outlier self. And I just switched it to the last run of the GFS. And the last run prior to this most recent run, completely different. Like, come on, GFS, make up your mind. This is why I hardly use the GFS anymore for forecast comparisons. It's in a league of its own. And I'm not talking about a good league. I'm talking about a poor league of its own. I've pretty much just been using the European and the Europeans' AI infrastructure to determine this. To get a simulation, if we got what the European is showing for a Pineapple Express, see, that's a separate frontal system coming in. That's not the actual Pineapple Express itself. Oh, that's why I'm not on the right run. Okay. Yeah, we have to go a bit farther in. Okay, there we go. I was like, hang on, why is it cutting off? And then I realized, okay, I'm not on the right time frame. Yeah, there we go. This is potentially what the radar would look like during that Pineapple Express scenario if it were to happen in about 8 days' time or so. You think we will see more winters in the future with lowland snowstorms and heavy cascade snow, or snowy winters dying due to climate change and global warming? It's going to be a pretty controversial take depending on who you're talking to, but you know, I agree that climate change and global warming are certainly possibilities. And I believe Michael also commented on this as well, and probably does still comment. I haven't watched his briefings in some time. I think he was talking about how climate change is a real deal as well, which I 100% agree with. So I think, arguably, we're probably trending towards the warmer and drier winters around here in the near term. Didn't even know about drains and there was 2 inches of water. Surprise wake-up call for you, am I right? But yeah, I personally think with global warming definitely being a possibility that winters are going to become much more mild around these parts. That's just my honest opinion based on information that I've seen from credible sources. I do agree with that conjecture. So yeah, we'd have this frontal system come in sometime Saturday morning, persist through the afternoon time, and then the Pineapple Express right behind it. Actually, this frontal system would be dragging in that Pineapple Express. Yeah, that would be a pretty steady amount of rain. But again, the European has the axis farther south of the area, while the European's AI counterpart has it a bit farther north. And this would put much of the area north of Seattle, north and west of Seattle, under the gun for heavy precip. But one thing you notice too is it doesn't have that much mountain snowfall. Again, we're bringing in a warm subtropical air mass, and that's going to raise the snow levels well above pass level. Like I'm talking 6,000 feet and greater potentially. So only the highest peaks in the North Cascades would be getting snow if we were to have this Pineapple Express come through. You notice how after that moves out and the cold front passes, that it brings the snow levels back down to pass level right behind it. And then, at least in the European, this could be something to watch here. That's a pretty strong cold front right there. So, see, is that? Yeah, that just looks like a front. Let's go look at wind for that. I want to see what that brings for wind, because that looks like a pretty windy system. That would be a pretty windy system if it played out like this. So the Euro right now, for looks like the afternoon of February 13th, and I will say this will change, so do not lock this in yet. It's showing a really strong frontal system and an area of low pressure moving into a pretty favorable spot that would bring some strong winds to some areas of the Pacific Northwest. Looks like the strongest winds right now would be along the Oregon and southern Washington coast. But take it with a grain of salt. Do not lock it in. This is almost 2 weeks in the future here. Hopefully no wind with the Pineapple Express. We don't get much wind with atmospheric rivers unless there's an embedded area of low pressure that moves in along with it. I think that's what we saw. I believe that was the setup the week before Christmas, if I recall correctly. I would have to go and look through all my posts again to verify it, but I think we had an atmospheric river immediately followed by a windstorm right after it. Believe that was the one that was the morning of the 16th, if I recall correctly. That's when I was streaming during the event, and we had a power outage here at the studio. We streamed through the power outage too, which is a really nice test to see how that worked. Let's again look in the near term here and go look at some wind. Basically nothing. Breezy at times, maybe some strong winds again over the Salish Sea. And some areas along the coast. But outside of that, so like this would be for Monday morning here. That next system that comes through right before that ridge sets up. Monday morning could be breezy around the area, but nothing much more than a stronger breeze. Around the Puget Sound at least. Possibly stronger winds again over the north coast, Vancouver Island area, Salish Sea, and Hurricane Ridge, where you see these red contours here. Outside of that, again, not really much to talk about when it comes to wind, which is good news for a lot of you guys. Let's just keep refreshing Facebook comments. Facebook has not been right since the stream went down the first time. Please let us know if it's coming with that. So scary. Yeah, like I said, no serious wind concerns coming up. I'll be looking further down the stretch at things as we go into the middle of February. But right now, it doesn't look super active at that time. We may just have some passing mild weather systems, but I'm not seeing any huge concerns right now that pop up. It looks a bit more like a mellow weather pattern going into February. Kind of what we've seen here in January, like almost a repeat, but maybe better chances for mountain snowpack, as we were talking about earlier. Have to think that winter of 26-27 will be better. I think we have hit rock bottom. Can't possibly be any worse than this winter, is my thought. I know that's a long ways away. I hope you're right. I hope this is the worst and it gets better from this point on. I agree with your take there, because you notice how, back in the 80s and the 90s we had a bunch of winter weather events. Even in the 2000s and sometimes during the 2010s, like 2019, for example. 2013, 2014 was also a pretty good year for snow in the mountains. But man, that 2014 to 2015 season that followed was beyond ridiculous. I remember that because we rented a cabin up in the Ronald area in 2014, and we drove snowmobiles around the area. Then the next year we went back to the same cabin in 2015, and we literally had to hike. There wasn't a single pile of snow anywhere. It was sunny, it was warm, and it was bone dry. The differences that a year makes, it's crazy, honestly. Hang on, guys. Send a message to my dad real quick. Letting him know that I'll be coming over, hanging out for a while tomorrow. Reading some of your comments on my latest post as well. Remember, the Willamette Valley storm in February 2014. Was living in Salem, Oregon at the time. Yeah, it was either January or February of 2014 where we went up to Ronald that one time, and the amount of snow that fell was just ridiculous. Keith says, going to be doing a blog on climate change tomorrow. Sounds good. I'll be looking out for that, Keith. Yeah, and just, the difference between the winters of 13-14 and 14-15. Just crazy, honestly. Like I said, a sobering realization. Oddly enough, now the visibility is up to a full 10 miles at Tacoma Narrows. It's possible that maybe a little patch of fog moved through and then it cleared up, or there's a patch coming through, a little brief clearing, and then another patch coming through after that. But again, we're just looking at visibility gauges right now. Only select stations around the area have them. Not all of them have visibility gauges. We're just using the ones that we have access to sort of make a determination of what's going on. When you get going, we'll be back in a half hour. Will you still be on? Potentially, it really just depends on the audience. I think I'm going to start winding down here around 7:30 or so, and then the stream at the latest should be done by 8 o'clock. I wanted to get one more live stream in before the month was over, just because January so far since I've been full time has arguably been one of my worst months. Like, behind the scenes. You know, if we're talking financially, yeah. Like, I'm not going to go too far into it because, you know, Facebook and YouTube have policies on it. But I'll just say it's one of my worst months. And it's one of the reasons why I'm speeding up my, I was speeding up my job search. Just because of how brutal this upcoming month's paycheck is going to be. Like, record lows. Since August when I've gone full time. I mean, it's pretty severe. If I don't, have a great night. Thank you for the plug. Oh yeah, absolutely, Keith. Yeah, again, before Keith leaves, go and follow K-Dog Weather here on Facebook. Trying to get him up to 100 followers as soon as possible. We gained 1. We're up to 73. But see if we can get my friend Keith Capolero here up in Bellingham, K-Dog Weather, up to 100 followers. If you guys watching on Facebook right now could do me a follower, or could do me a favor, pardon me, go and follow Keith's weather blog. Again, K-Dog Weather. See right now, most of the rain staying off the coast or along the northwestern tip of the coast. Some showers over the Olympics, mainly west of Olympia, but those should stay west of the Puget Sound tonight. So you see these breaks in the cloud cover here. This is opening up the possibility, and we've already seen it, the possibility for some fog tonight in some of these areas, which we're already seeing reduced visibilities around much of the South Puget Sound here. And we're down to 4 miles of visibility here at the Olympia Regional Airport. Down from 10 not long ago. I expect this number, this 10-mile visibility at Tacoma, to go back down because it was just at a 1/4 mile visibility not long ago. So yeah, I'd like to apologize again for really the lack of content the last couple of weeks. Just been spending a lot of time with family and a lot of time contemplating the future, really. You know, the future for the page, I will admit, is pretty uncertain. I disclosed that in my last stream, which was, I think I called it Discussing the Future of PSSW. You know, where I broke the news that I accepted a job offer at Action Entertainment. So I'll be most likely being a cable runner at a lot of parties and shows around the Puget Sound area. You know, I'm still in the struggle to apply for insurance because the one mistake I made jumping into this full time as fast as I did was neglecting my mental health. And that's the reason why I've been really struggling with my New Year's resolutions so far. Like, I wanted to put out more short form content and more briefing content here on YouTube, and I just never got around to it. Because I've been neglecting my mental health, and that is the worst thing I could do for myself. And now I may be losing a lot because of it, unfortunately, which I don't want to happen, but it seems kind of inevitable at this point. It's kind of gotten down to the point of no return, where I can't really dig myself out of this hole. You know, that's my fear, and my fear may be coming true, sadly. But sometimes you just got to say it is what it is and move on with your life. You know, we're living in very uncertain times right now. And I want to be there for you guys and make sure I get all of the full-time weather content out to you guys. But again, it's just really uncertain right now, and I'm not sure if I can keep delivering this at the frequency that I have been. Especially when show season starts up here in March, you're probably going to be seeing less content from me, like specifically live stream content. I should be able to have enough time to still post, hopefully, daily blog updates, but the live stream frequency will definitely be going down once showtime really starts up. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up in case you guys missed that live stream from previous. What does Spokane look like? Shane Daniels asking a minute ago. Let's see, where is it? Okay. Let's go look at the short-term model runs here. Let's pull up the NAM. Yes, Spokane's looking cool and mild going into this weekend. The end of the weekend going into the week looks cool and mild. In terms of precipitation, there's not going to be much precipitation. Maybe a few showers at times. And see, it doesn't show much of it, if any of it, falling in the form of snow or flurries over the next 60-hour period or so. Shows your area could get some rainfall on, this is tomorrow afternoon. After that, you stay mostly dry going into the beginning of the next week. So fairly mild. Temperatures won't be too high. Again, you'll be near freezing during the nighttime and in the 40s likely during the daytime. Not much rain that I could see. Let's look at visibility to see if there's any fog concerns out there. Yeah, it'll likely get foggy out there tonight. So overnight in the early tomorrow morning, it'll be foggy over there. And then potential for some widespread fog across most of the Columbia Basin into Monday morning as well. And even going into Tuesday morning also. So it'll be foggy at times in Spokane also. So hopefully, yeah, sure thing. That's sad because you're so good at what you do for everyone. It's a reality I have to accept. Even when I decided to do this full time, I assessed the risks and I knew what I was getting myself into. I just didn't think, of course, I didn't think that January would be this slow. If we had even a slightly more active weather pattern this January, maybe things could have been slightly different. But I'm pretty much just postponing the inevitable at this point. I discussed the possibilities of picking up a job here in January, which did happen. And the job should start picking up here in March, maybe even later next month. We'll see. I'll let you guys know. Again, I'll be transparent with you guys. I have nothing to hide with you guys. Just letting you guys know what's going on behind the scenes so that there are no surprises again. Yeah, it's disappointing, but I knew the risk was there, and which is why I gave an initial timeline of 2 to 3 months before I would be getting back into the job market. I kind of just dragged it out to about 5 to 6 months. So it's doing more damage than fixing anything right now. And January being a slow month, as slow as it has been, or was, because we're on the last day now. Like, being a brutally slow month and being one of my worst months since I've gone full time is just, it's just speeding up that process faster. Just to think of it, my most popular posts that I made were about earthquakes. That's how you know it's slow. Really slow. Weather's been weird also. Maybe in Spokane, yeah, the weather's been kind of weird. Again, I don't specialize on Eastern Washington weather. Would highly recommend going and checking out my friend Ben's page, Washington Weather Chasers. he goes a bit more in depth across Eastern Washington as well. But I know other than that, there's not really any proprietary weather pages that cover just Eastern Washington. Maybe there will be in the future if there's any volunteers. But again, I cover mostly the immediate Puget Sound area. So just that sub-region of Western Washington. But I do cover a lot of Western Washington also. Hey there, Ashley. Hello, welcome in. We're pretty much just discussing how January was and the outlook for February, and how February again looks bleak for lowland snow, but looks a bit better, at least initially, for mountain snowpack, which we desperately need. But like the game-changing mountain snowpack is not quite in the picture for February right now. We really need that game-changing snowpack before we start going into the springtime, especially the summertime, or else we're going to have serious, serious problems going into summer, even down here. The main concern, of course, is the watersheds. I'm cool with no snow. I've been enjoying the super chill weather. Yeah, and funny enough, talking about the Seahawks here. I've seen people saying that they would give up a winter with no snow for a Seahawks Super Bowl win. It's funny because the last time the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, we had a pretty snowy winter, especially up in the mountains. But the year that they lost the Super Bowl, it was a huge detriment to the mountain snowpack. One of the worst mountain snowpack years on record following the Super Bowl loss, which of course still stings, especially since I get to see that darn interception almost every day for the next week, especially the day of the Super Bowl. Oh man, that's going to be brutal. But if the Seahawks win this next Super Bowl, which they should, hopefully with ease, then that'll definitely help ease the burn that at least myself as a Seahawks fan has had to endure the last 10 plus years. Now, because think about it like this, even the Chiefs dynasty has had their series of losses. Like that loss in 2020 to the Buccaneers, where they were just off a Super Bowl win, lost it, and then went back 2 years later to win back-to-back Super Bowls. So things can definitely change, 100%. I hear the concern for droughts in the watersheds, but man, I hate it when it storms like crazy, says Ashley. Snowpack over there has been bad also. Yes, you're right, Shane. And a lot of the reason why we're struggling for January too, financial wise, is because a lot of those gifted memberships have expired, and most, if not all, of those people chose not to renew. I think there's only like 5 or 6 of you guys on the YouTube page that have automatically renewing memberships. And that definitely hurts the channel, but no complaints at all. No complaints. I haven't posted much. Like, I haven't posted anything for membership content, so it's completely justified if you choose not to renew. I completely understand. Just been really trying to work on myself these last couple of weeks or so. And, I can just feel my mental health just slipping away more and more as time goes on. And I hate that feeling. I hate it. That's why I'm trying to get my medical back and, get back and see the doctor and get things going right again. Yeah, hey, welcome back, Ashley. Yeah, that was a very subtle reminder for you. I chose that at a wise time. Yeah, welcome back to the intro forecaster tier. And you were automatically given the blue star too, which means you are a second month member. So yeah, glad to have you back on the team. I want to eventually get members only content out to you guys, but I'm not sure how or when I'm going to be able to do it. One thing's for sure, I need to get my motivation back. And right now my motivation is just hanging by a thread of a needle, you know? It's hanging on by a thread. Same here, I work for a ski resort in the winter and it's been cruddy. It's hurt a lot. I'm only working like 7 hours a weekend. Crazy how dry it's been this year, insane. Yeah, the seasonal workers, like you, for example, Shane, I could imagine you guys are in for a world of hurt. Just glad you reminded me my memory sucks these days. I'll be honest, my short-term memory has been really poor to start off this year. It's probably due to, a lot of the severe mental health issues that have really been piling up as of recent. And a lot of it, of course, is due to money being not coming in. Again, not selfishly, but we had a good month in December. Again, not going to make it about me, but December was the most successful month financially that PSSW had. So that helped to ease the burn for January. But man, going into February, it's looking really bleak right now. Really bleak. And I get paid once a month from all of these services, and we're going into tax season. I just found my W-2 from Safeway, and geez, my tax return is going to be brutal. Brutally low. Not only that, but I have to file business taxes for the first time ever. And if I don't have to get a CPA, I'd rather not. I'd rather save as much money as possible. So my spending has been like bare minimum. Outside of, getting some food a couple of times and some grocery shopping. And the occasional trip to fill up on gas too. But outside of that, I've been keeping my trips minimal. A couple of trips to Tacoma here and there to go see my family. And one trip to and from Lakewood. But the fact that I haven't been traveling and been out as much is really weighing down on me too. And it's all kind of a feedback loop. And it really, really narrows down to just my decisions that I made for my mental health and the fact that they haven't been great decisions. Like I should have had this backup insurance ready to go as soon as I left my previous job. But I decided to neglect that and I'm paying the price right now. Paying the price, and I may be paying the price long term if I'm not able to keep my space that I worked very hard for. A really sobering reality again, but I'm just thankful for my family and the fact that they've allowed me place to stay in case things do go that far south. The truth is, I don't want anyone to feel bad for me. This was my decision. I did this to myself. I'm taking full responsibility for it. But I guess I didn't intend for it to go this far south. That's an unintended consequence of being an online content creator full time. Not having guaranteed hours, of course, having fluctuating wages and no insurance. I haven't had insurance for going on to 6 months here shortly. And man, oh man, do I regret that decision tenfold right now. The things that could be different. The things that could have been different had I taken this seriously from the beginning. I think it was just that initial joy of leaving my full-time job and becoming a full-time content creator and weather forecaster, an amateur forecaster, albeit. That initial joy started to wear off pretty quickly. As soon as the funds started stacking up and I started nipping into my savings account, that's when the joy really started to dissipate and when the issues really began to settle in. And again, I remind you guys, one thing that I really preach here as the host of Puget Sound Stormwatch is I preach for transparency. If something's going on behind the scenes, I always want to make sure you guys know what's going on so that there's no concerns or any worries. And that is a goal that I continue to strive for. Even if, well, I am stepping down from full-time coverage. It's just a matter of when my other job decides to fire up. Once that job fires up, it's not going to slow down anytime soon. All right, well, with that out of the way, I think we're going to begin to wind down for the night. Not a lot of you guys tuned in anyways. So yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to you guys who sent stars here on Facebook. Thank you so much. Shout out to Julie, I think it was Julie Rogers that sent the $5 super chat here on YouTube. And thank you, Ashley Getz, for renewing your membership here on YouTube as well. The shout outs go to all of you. Thank you to all 11 of you guys that have liked the stream. And a few dozen of you that have liked on Facebook. So thank you guys also for that. I'll open up the time now for any last minute questions you guys may have. Again, apologies for the technical difficulties we had earlier. It was a really rough start to the stream. Really rough start. I had to go and reset my modem midstream at the very beginning, and actually it cut off the stream almost entirely on both Facebook and YouTube during that time. Never had that issue pop up before. Yeah, dude, you gotta support our favorite content creators. Yeah, that is the truth. And to think, if my mental health was in a better spot, could have put much more effort into this from the start, things could be wildly different right now. You know, I've been hanging on to 38K here on Facebook for like the last month or so. I've had very minimal growth. Actually, a lot of losses on Facebook, which is my main source of income right now. YouTube is a good secondary, but even like this is only my second month of having YouTube monetization privileges. And the fall off from this month compared to the last month is something that should go down in the history books. Like I just barely made the threshold for payment for the month of January. Just barely. Like, you know, today definitely helps. It helps a lot. But man, do I have a lot of work to do coming up. A lot of work to do. Yeah, so sorry again, I haven't been around too much, guys. That's why it's always important to have backup options. So like in case Puget Sound Stormwatch isn't posting anything, you know, make sure you stay alert with other pages like Washington Weather Chasers and Pacific Northwest Weather Watch, for example. And if you guys are up north, Whatcom County Weather, Randy and team are another great source of weather information. I know Matthew with Western Washington Weather has been very busy in school, so his posts haven't been as frequent. He's a full-time college student, so I understand his case. There's just a lot of pages you guys can follow. Scott Sistek's weather blog, the Emerald City weather blog, has been really doing some great numbers the last few months. So give Scott Sistek, meteorologist, a look over. You know, he makes daily or semi-daily weather updates to his blog. So another great source of weather information. Just have your backup options and have some redundancy also. It's always good to have redundancy no matter what. That's a very important lesson that I've learned, is to always have redundancy. Kim says, truly wish only the best for you. Thank you for the kind words. Yeah, I wish I could stay with you guys full time, but with the expenses adding up and the bills only increasing by the month, it's not going to be sustainable. I'm afraid. It's, right now, what I'm doing, I'm playing a very dangerous game. Very dangerous game as it is. And for my own sake, I don't want to do that much longer. Again, for my own sake. Hang in there. Thanks for checking in and providing an update and all the resources. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate the kind words from everybody again. I wouldn't be able to do this without all of you guys here. Tell you what, I think tonight's a good night for some dinner. So would anyone like to do me a quick solid before I sign off? Potentially donate a dinner tonight here on Coffee? A few streams ago actually, back in the midst of December, quite a few people pitched in to buy me dinner a couple of nights. So that was awfully nice of you guys. Thank you for that. Again, I'm keeping all of my expenses at a bare minimum right now. So, whether it be fasting some days to also help, cut down on my weight too, because my weight's been a little bit of concern. I'm around 210, 215 right now, and I'm trying to get down to around 190 very soon. So I gotta get my rear end back to the gym. I haven't been since before Thanksgiving. And again, with the mental health issues really settling in, just the motivation to get out there and get active is at an all-time low right now. So I'm trying to be more disciplined, and I'm gonna have to call the insurance agency back because I'm applying through state insurance. And since I'm self-employed, the process takes much longer. And I haven't heard back from them in about 10 days, but I got to get back to the way things previously were. And I have a lot of damage control to do. But again, I appreciate the kind words. I wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. All I got to say is thank you so much, everyone. Facebook, YouTube, Patreon. If you guys want to check out the store as well, I don't mention this too much, or have mentioned it often unless someone mentioned it. But the Stormwatch store, 25% off all merchandise if you redeem the coupon. And again, I have multiple designs, including the new designs that released for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. If you guys want to go check that out, again, the link is PugetSoundStormwatch.myspreadshop.com. It's pinned on Facebook, and it's in the... Oh, look at that. New tip from Anonymous. Well, there we go. Thank you, Dagmar Devere, for your donation of 2 coffees. Appreciate that. Thank you, Dagmar, for all the support and all of the intel. You really helped during the flooding coverage. Big time. Yeah. Dagmar is one of those people that helped relay a lot of real-time information from around the sound to me so I could get the most accurate information out to you guys during the flooding. Especially when we had those flash flooding events too. Like she was one of those people that really, really helped get the most up-to-date info out to me so I could get really reliable information as soon as possible. So thank you, Dagmar, and everyone else. And we got another coffee as well. Well, look at that. So thank you, Julie Rogers, Mama Miyamoto here on YouTube for your donation of 3 coffees, pardon me. And thank you, Ashley Ashley Gets a dash of ash 1337 here on YouTube for your donation of 4 coffees. So with that, that's dinner. Awesome sauce, guys. Thank you so much. What a great way, a great enlightening way to end the stream. Appreciate all of your guys' donations. Without you guys, it would not be possible. Hope to see you guys in the future for more live streams. I'm hoping for more live stream content here in February, as long as the weather systems really begin to pick up. If the storm train starts to pick up again in February, definitely expect these live streams to return to their previous frequency. I'm hoping, again, at least 2 times per week. It all depends on when the entertainment business fires back up. In which case, then, I'll at least be working part-time. They said part-time, but who knows when that'll turn to full-time if it does. Yeah, Julie, thank you again for all the kind words. Means a lot. Yeah, anyways, I think that just about covers everything we need to talk about. A little over 2 hours since we had our last issues with the stream, and we've been stable ever since. It just took a hardware refresh. Yeah, guys, the future is a scary thing. It's uncertain, but the uncertainty is also what brings joy to it too. Worst comes to worst, if I can no longer keep the apartment, the streaming setup will be a thing of history. But I'll still figure out a portable streaming setup to hopefully stream anywhere. What I'll probably do, I'll probably keep the webcam and the mic and just have my laptop and just do live streams from, whether it be on the road or outdoors somewhere. It's just something of uncertainty that I hope I find answers to soon. Give your mom an extra hug. I miss mine so much. I will. Absolutely. Ashley says, get you some good dinner. Sounds like a plan. Have another little cheat day to end January. I also missed this earlier. Mary Patricia Doherty, if you're still watching, thank you for becoming a subscriber here on Facebook. Yeah, I made a post kind of like a plea talking about hopefully getting upwards of 3,000 people to donate $1 per month to keep us up full time. I got around 25 people that volunteered. So nowhere near the goal, but the fact that 25 people willingly chose to opt in and donate $1 a month is still huge. But I knew I would fall short of the goal. I just had a slim sliver of hope that maybe that wouldn't happen, but sometimes, again, you just gotta say it is what it is and move on with your life. Okay, refreshing comments again, and again, Facebook's been really slow since the stream crashed. Dagmar says, hopefully someone will add for dinner. Very important to take care of yourself. Yeah, so thank you again, Dagmar, Julie, and Ashley, for your generous donations. You guys paid for dinner tonight, so +1 for all 3 of you guys. Kim Leonard says thank you as well. Yeah, gladly. Thank you for tuning in, Kim. Thank you for your engagement. Just past 7:30, I'm going to start winding down. I'm going to go to my dad's house in Tacoma tomorrow. Go see some more family. I'm going to make it a habit to see my dad's side of the family at least once a week from this point on. I've been using football season as an excuse to make sure I see both sides of my family at least once a week. Now that football season's winding down, I'm going to make it a priority to keep up that streak. Just because family time is beyond valuable. And, you never know when you may lose that time. Unfortunately. So, we'll never take that time for granted. Never. But, with all that out of the way, this is Anthony with Puget Sound Stormwatch, Facebook, YouTube, other horizons around the area. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram too. I made a new Instagram at Puget Sound Stormwatch if you guys want to follow that. Gotten a few new followers over the last month since I've created that. Yeah, go Hawks as well. Go Hawks. Not sure if we'll have another stream before the Super Bowl, but I'll be watching the Super Bowl at my dad's. Hoping for the best of luck from the Seahawks there. So yeah, go follow Puget Sound Stormwatch on TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, X. Patreon if you don't have Facebook. Yeah, Ashley says, always happy to help. Yeah, thank you for your help. You know, rent's due in 2 days, and it's the highest I've ever had to pay for rent. So it's going to put a real burner in the bank account for the month of February. So again, it is what it is. Right now, I'm hoping to keep things going until at least April. But after April, if things don't really turn around by April, then times run out. You know, I'll be moving in April as of right now. It's looking like April will probably be the time to move out, start saving money again, start over, you know. Because me getting this apartment in January of last year, that was me starting over. It may be time to start over again, you know. But it's important to not have a fear of starting over. I've been reassuring myself that it's okay to start over. I have people willing to help me out. You know, I took a huge risk making this jump to full-time content creation. And I wasn't 100% from the get-go, and that's probably what's costing me now. So sometimes you say it is what it is, and you move on with your life. Enough for the wisdom and enough for the live stream. I think this stream has run its course. Again, appreciate all the support from you guys. Gonna refresh Facebook comments one more time, see if I missed anything. I have not. So yeah, thank you guys for buying dinner tonight. I will put that to use immediately. But see you guys on the next live stream. Again, Anthony here, Puget Sound Storm Watch, saying have a great night. Hope you guys had a great January, and hopefully you guys have a great February. And I'll see you guys for the next month. Oh wait, before we stop. Julie Rogers says, I've started over at least 4 times in my 65 years. Doing it again now. You got this. Best of luck to you, Julie. Hopefully there's no roadblocks in your way. Hoping for another smooth transition. Yeah, have a great night, everyone. And happy February coming up. Hoping for great vibes.